Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's class. Today's essential questions are, do only the good die young? Does everyone really want to rule the world? And is life really a highway? I am Mr. Rabbers, and I have been into bonsai lately, and I've been trying to grow trees and stuff in my house during these cold months. And I tried to go key lime trees, and they need between temperatures of 75 and 80 to germinate properly. I don't achieve those temperatures in my house at this time of the year.
You could.
I could, but it's not.
Light a fire. These trees need to germinate.
I need to save that firewood for when it's really cold out. And so, yeah, I failed at germinating key lime trees thus far. We'll see how the oranges do. They require a little bit lower temperatures. On to Mr. Walter.
I'm Mr. Walter, and when I was little, I remember unfondly one day when we were standing in line at the store for the checkout, and I was thinking, you know what? I don't hug my dad that often. So I see the trench coat in front of me, and I hug it, and then I look up. It's not my dad. It was another guy in an identical leather trench coat.
What was the setting of this?
Formative experience right there.
And he just said it. There's the aisle in the
We
line
were waiting to check out at the
store.
grocery store.
How old were you?
Kindergarten maybe?
And you thought to yourself in kindergarten, I don't hug my father enough.
Yes.
It's an insight.
And I'm Mr. Linton.
I'm Mr. Linton. When I was a kid, 4th grade maybe, I was walking down the hallway of my house and stepped, and something stuck to the bottom of my foot. And it kind of felt like, like plastic wrap, saran wrap. It was like, I tried to shake it off. I took another step or two, and it just wasn't coming off my foot. And then I looked down, and it was dog poop.
Ew.
So I left dog poo footprints down the carpeted hallway of my house. I took a good 3 or 4 steps.
Did you shake it all over the wall, try to get it
No,
off?
it was pretty well stuck to my foot.
Okay, that's good at least.
Yeah.
And despite all that, we are still the smartest guys in the classroom. Welcome
Allegedly.
to class. Allegedly. Welcome to class, everyone. Theme song completed.
You're not going to play it?
I can't
It's
play it
the
on
music episode.
I can't play it on that.
Loser!
It's on a synthesizer and sequencer.
I have no response.
Okay.
Disappointed.
Today's episode is the musical episode where we'll take a look at
We're not singing this episode.
that episode of your favorite TV show where they needed to fill an episode and they thought, why not make it into a musical?
That's not what this
This
is.
is not what this is.
Music.
Cut
No,
that.
no,
No, just cut him from any music.
I can't read sheet music.
True. I was thinking about this. Mr. Linton and I are musical in that we can play and sing. Mr. Walter, how would you rate your musical
I
expertise?
have created music for games that I've made,
Well, that's cool.
but I play by ear. So I need
Okay.
to play notes and arrange them until they sound good, which takes a lot longer than if I had actually known how to read notes or anything like that.
Sure.
But you have some innate musical ability.
Yeah.
You just never have received training in that area.
That's correct. Yeah.
Gotcha. Today we're looking at some of our favorite pieces of music, kind of framing it as music that moved us at different points in our life or musical moments from our more formative years. And
Before we start that, though, I have something to get off my chest.
just getting right into it. Okay.
Prepping for the
Let me get
podcast.
comfortable real quick.
Prepping for the podcast is usually pretty chill. if not a vague hindrance. You both know I play my cards pretty close to my chest and don't like to look at the outline so I don't accidentally start up conversations that would ruin something we want to have recorded. And I know that I'm the one who originally suggested this episode. However, prepping for this episode in particular could be categorized as cruel and unusual punishment. For those of you that don't know, I have in my past, shall we say, a successful history of being a hopeless bachelor.
In your past?
There isn't a whole lot that I... There isn't a whole lot that I used to fill the empty and silent hours more effectively than my beloved Spotify. Whether I was reading or writing or doing chores or playing Halo, you could bet I was finding new albums to listen to. So you would think that this episode would be a slam dunk for me. But therein lies the problem, gentlemen. I have, at the time of writing this, over 2,800 songs in my liked playlist. You want me to pick 3?
Yes.
3?
Yes.
What are you doing to me? I struggled for hours over what 3 songs I could possibly talk about, because every time I tried to narrow it down, I was filled with a bottomless pit of dismay for the songs I was leaving out. I'm not even going to touch Your Best Friend Jippy, my favorite song of all time, The Archer by Alexander Savior, my favorite band of all time, Lore, my other favorite Polish bands, Sana, Wiktoria Swolinska, or Paula Biskup, my favorite Finnish bands, Emilia Matilda, or Pachmoino, my favorite Slovenian band, Regan, or Icelandic singer, Ellen Hall, Jerry Cinnamon, Flipturn, Brimheim, Victoria Bigelow, To Athena, Sorka Richardson, Sophie May, Silly Boy Blue, Giselle, Fontaines DC, Manchester Orchestra. You're going to talk about them, thankfully. Ossie Elliott, Lucrezia, Natalie Madigan, Genevieve Stokes, Zartman, Gyan, E.G. You made me not talk about E.G. I hold you responsible.
I think I saw them live once.
I'm going to throw you out a window. Baby Nova, Be It or Business, Wasia Project, Clover County, or Kylie V, The National. The National was super important to me. I'm not even going to touch on them. Sidney Ross Mitchell, what are you doing to me? So in conclusion, we need to do more of these.
It sounds like a you problem. I struggled a little bit with this, but it wasn't that hard to pick out moments. Although I sympathize with you being Gen Z and having your Spotify growing. And this, okay, this ties into something that I wanted to talk about.
I'm glad I was a segue for you.
So we're going to have to maybe
Just grade him, okay? That's how this works. We grade him.
B-.
A-.
Oh, thanks.
Mr.
I
Walter,
feel slightly better now.
where did you source your music when you were growing up?
That's interesting. I didn't listen to a lot of music growing up. We had cassette tapes that we would play. We had MP3 players when I got to middle school, and we had the radio. My dad listened to talk radio almost exclusively, or blues music. And my mother would just play whatever was on the radio on our half-hour drive to school. So I got to listen to the same 10 songs play over and over again on the radio a lot.
It's not a deep catalog that they played from?
I mean, most of the pop stations are just...
It was like top 40?
You hear the same thing over and over again,
Yeah.
It feels like. Even if it's not the 10 songs, it feels like it after a month of being subjected to them. Especially when Christmas rolls around, right?
Mr. Linton, where did you source your music when you were growing up?
Well, I mean, you're going to have to define growing up. Because I think high school was a pretty formative experience for me as far as my music taste. But I pretty quickly went down a rabbit hole of rejecting everything everyone else I knew listened to. Because it was so manufactured and mainstream and generic and just, not part of a culture that I related to. And then I made some friends who were into like the underground music scene, and we would we would just pass around CDs. Like you had to buy CDs, and you could buy like record labels would produce like CDs that had songs from all their bands on their label, and so you'd buy that and you'd listen to all of them, and you'd find bands. And then if you hoped that because that one song was good, if you bought their whole album, that the rest of the album was
Right.
also good. And then you just pass them around to each other and be like, hey, check out this new band I found. And that kind of became my identity, is discovering new bands for myself or getting them recommended by others. But I have not listened to the radio in over 20 years.
Yeah. It's still a similar thing on something like Spotify, where you can look up a radio for a vibe or whatever, and you'll find a new artist in there and try and go to the album and hope that the rest of the album is good, or that there's other gems in there too.
The difference I find with Spotify a little bit is that it used to be so reliant on personal recommendation or
Yeah.
work. You know, now if you have the Spotify Premium, you can hit the like play my favorites, but also recommend new songs to me. And I'll find new bands that way.
Right.
But it feels less meaningful.
I don't know. I share playlists with other people through Spotify, and I have other people recommend me bands through Spotify. So I think there's still some of that trading going on, but that is kind of a culture that's dying out, maybe.
To both of you, did you find it more rewarding to discover a song or an artist on your own, or to have the experience of someone saying, I really enjoyed this song, or I really enjoyed this artist, and having the shared experience of getting to discover that through someone else?
Oh, I still like, I can't do it as much anymore because kids' music tastes have changed. But I used to love to blow students' minds, because I'd be like, yeah, when I was in college, the Mankato Ballroom and the local radio station in Mankato, Minnesota was having some concert at literally a wedding venue. And I knew the headlining band, and I thought they were pretty decent. So we went, and there was like 75 people standing in what otherwise would have been a wedding venue, with like literally the velvet rope separating us from the stage, which was not even really elevated. And the opening band, we're like, these guys are pretty good. So I bought their album. That band, Fall Out Boy.
It's nuts.
Wow. They were in Mankato?
They were at the Mankato Ballroom opening for Rufio, who you've never heard of.
That's incredible.
This must have been before they signed
Yeah.
any decent record
Yes.
deal.
Like this is before their major record label debut, and we saw them there. Like I could have reached my arms out and spun around and not touched another person except maybe a member of the band. And
That's interesting.
Then like a year later they blew up.
I
was like,
I always loved being the one to find the weird music.
Doesn't surprise me.
I remember another source now. Shows. My mother loved the show Chuck, and there's a lot of esoteric music in the show Chuck. So I got a lot of weird music tastes out of that show.
are you gonna play the theme song here?
If I can remember the starting note, I can play it. Yeah.
Yeah, Short Skirt, Long Jacket is the theme of
That's a
that
good one.
show.
That's a good
So I always had the widest, when I was in high school, I had the widest taste of weird music. And then I got to college, and I met some people who had other wide tastes of weird music, and they're like, I thought I was weird. And then I met you, Ben, and I said, that is the best chip on my shoulder you could have given me.
So that's one aspect that I want to explore in how we come to find our music that we kind of call our home base. The other one is related to this graph that Mr. Linton and I have in front of us. It basically says this. It says this, we like the music of childhood and love the songs of our late teens. So the songs that we hear during our childhood and our late teens make the biggest impression upon us.
I've heard that there's actually scientific studies showing that the more you listen to a song, the more it rewires your brain to enjoy it. which is how pop music becomes infectious.
Because it's an earworm.
Because it's an earworm, you listen to it, and even if you're like, oh, that song's so annoying, but it's stuck in my head, eventually your brain will condition itself to like it. Maybe just to put up with it, or I don't know where that biologically comes from.
That's a
but
trauma
an
that you just
interesting-
push through. Which is probably also speaks to the nostalgia of songs
Probably.
from your era, whenever that may be. My wife and I have come to enjoy just listening to some of the top music from when we were in high school and rediscovering it, and it's like a core memory that you had forgotten all this time because it's disappeared from the radio, but then you listen to it again and you're singing half to 3/4 of the lyrics because it was that infectious back then.
Right.
Just trying to explain to our kids Total Request Live the other day, TRL on MTV.
Don't know what that is.
I'm older than you. All right.
Yeah.
But look, so I was looking at this graph. I find it kind of fascinating. 2 out of the 3 bands or songs that I'm going to talk about today, I discovered after 35.
After your age of 35.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
interesting.
haven't discovered any of these over 35.
Because Mr. Walter's not yet at that age.
I'm almost 27.
He's pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure. What year is it?
I find the graph interesting too because the music that I've chosen, the music that I was exposed to, that I really gravitated toward, is a lot older songs. So I picked something from Elvis, something from Van Halen, and then something from Gustav Holst, which is not popular radio at all. It's an older wind symphony piece, but it's not the music release date. It's more the when you discover the music that makes that impression. And it is kind of funny that some like older music, whereas other people, they just embrace whatever's popular, or they, like you, Mr. Linton, they try to find their niche thing, even though it is of a current era. It's not very well popular or not very well known.
I think it just comes down to I don't have much of an attention span, so I'm always looking for what's the new thing, and then I latch onto it. But then it does mean that different phases of my life have a different soundtrack, and I kind of like that.
Yeah. And different albums can get attached to very specific things. Like one of the albums you're going to talk about today, I discovered while on my way to a friend's wedding, and I listened to it in the hotel room when I was there. So I very much have that place in my mind when I hear that album.
With that, I think let's go into our musical selections for today. I feel like I should go into the
Number one.
well, either that or just like I'd take more on the persona of the classical radio host. They're like very reserved, very soft-spoken, and
All right, time for number one.
Dvorak, New World Symphony, very breathy voice. Anyway, does anyone want to go first? I will then cue up the music, and we're going to listen to a little portion of it, and you're going to listen along with us, dear audience, and then the
Dear audience.
You know what? I'm ready to go first.
All right, Mr. Linton, you've got on the first on your list is Jack Mannequin's "I'm Ready." Is that correct?
Yeah, that's why I said I'm ready to go first. It was a little setup. It was a nice transition. You're going to play it first, and then I'll talk about it? Or you...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Here we go.
Wasted on you, and every word you say something sweet, 'cause all I taste is blood between my teeth as I'm fighting the world.
Yeah, so that's Jack's Mannequin, the lead singer of that group, and actually kind of the only. His name's Andrew McMahon. He was part of a band called Something Corporate that I got to love in college, and then he started kind of a solo project called Jack's Mannequin. The studio drummer on that, fun fact for you, studio drummer on that album is Tommy Lee.
From Motley Crue?
Yes.
Wow.
So that drummer that you're hearing right there is Tommy Lee.
That's nuts.
But he just wrote these. He wrote a bunch of songs that didn't really fit with his current band, so he just recorded them on his own. But that album, we're talking about these music that's tied to a place. For me, out of college, I got assigned to be a teacher out in California, and that's when I got hooked on this album called Everything in Transit, and it just has such a strong connection with me with that place and those vibes and that phase of my life where I'm stepping out into the world kind of on my own for the first time. I mean, I was married, but it's still like you're separate from your family geographically, everything else. There weren't even any other schools that we were part of a district within an hour and a half. And so you're feeling like you're on your own. And so that album kind of has those ties to me. You can hear it in the song like I'm Ready. There's other ones in there. One of the songs called La 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 is probably one of my favorites, but I picked this one because it's more demonstrative of his style. He plays piano. He writes songs on that, does the other instrumentation as well. And my wife and I have just kind of followed his career since then. And anytime he plays a concert nearby, we go. And it's just for us kind of a nostalgia piece. And that album, especially, I think is perfection to me. Now, I will say, along with I don't know, other bands on my list, I don't necessarily endorse all the content of the music. There might be some language that I wouldn't use or whatever, but the feel and the energy and the poetry of it speaks to me.
It's very. Is it what year did that album debut?
I want to say 2006.
I feel it is very somewhat of an album of that era, where I feel like there are bands like The Fray and a couple other bands. I can't remember the another one, but they were a little bit more piano driven, but still poppy. And that's the type of vibe that I'm getting from this. It's very easy to listen to. I was drawn in right away because it's just a very simple underlying chord progression. And if I couldn't listen to the lyrics all that closely, but just the title, I'm Ready, and I feel like it would draw me in pretty well.
Give the album a listen. It's a good one.
Might need to.
No comments.
Mr. Walter, let's go with your first selection here.
With my first selection.
Hummingbird from Low Roar.
Low Roar.
More piano rock.
Tentative captain, don't keep your eyes on the ground. Heaven's been offered, leaving this as such a beautiful sound. And I'm safe when I feel I don't feel it's not around. So I'm leaving tomorrow.
So that's Hummingbird by Low Roar. Low Roar is a band that I found, like a lot of people, watching an event called E3 that doesn't exist anymore.
Is that the video
That
game
is
release?
The Video Game Expo. This Low Roar.
This is like the least video game-esque sounding
Okay,
song I've ever heard.
The song they used, it wasn't this one.
Okay.
But it was from the same band, was I'll Keep Coming. It was used by Hideo Kojima for the first trailer of Death Stranding,
Okay, that
which
sounds right.
took the world by storm. And Kojima was a friend with this of this man, Ryan Karazia. I actually don't know how to pronounce his last name. And I found them from that, but they weren't I didn't like the rest of the album that much because it was more like this. It was not like that song as much, which everybody seemed to like. And this comes from the album Maybe Tomorrow, which the name of the album comes from this song in particular. Oftentimes the music is very fragile. It's intricate. It has layers. It has different audio things. This song starts out with wind chimes. You have other things like that. And this song in particular deals with leaving permanently. And it never defines what the cause of that is or anything like that, whether it's death or something else. But it is this hope and grief mixed together into a weird kind of catharsis that he seems to achieve in a lot of his songs, but this one in particular.
It's very melancholy, very bittersweet.
It's
Yes.
haunting almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the person who's singing, who is doing the leaving, he's ready. He's happy about it. He's just trying to make the other people feel better about it. He goes on to say, so I'm leaving tomorrow. Don't cry for me. I'm the talk of the town. And don't worry, mother. I'll blow kisses to you when the sun's going down. Tell Dad I'm all right, and I'll see him around. Maybe tomorrow.
Has it been used in any other soundtrack?
I don't know.
It sounds like it's
But
purpose
this-
made for a movie.
It feels like it, but I don't believe it has. This was my favorite band up until I have a short attention span, and the lead singer died of pneumonia, sadly. So they haven't been able to create any new music, obviously. So
When do
I've
you like
moved
to
on
listen to
other
this song?
things. This is a good work song. Like if I'm programming or something, this is because programming can be a very frustrating experience sometimes when you're hunting for bugs or things like that. And so a lot of the music I listen to is of the softer variety because it keeps a bass line, which can help during frustrating or stressful circumstances if I'm in a competition for the programming or anything like that. But yeah, this is one that I am high in empathy, so this one hit me close to home. And my brother as well, my brother Christian, I was driving him back to the airport so he could pick up a rental car after one of my other brother's weddings. And this song came on, and I didn't know that he knew this album, or I didn't remember that he knew. And he knew every word to the song, and I knew every word to the song. So we just told the person in the backseat to shut up, and we both sang on the way to the airport. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Great memory. It almost makes me want to cry. Like that's the vibe I get from it. Like if I'm
That's where I thought his story was going.
That's-
And then we started bawling.
We
in the front
started
seat.
bawling. No,
We had to pull over so we could embrace.
So, from almost on the edge of tears, very sentimental, very melancholy, to 1950s rockabilly song covered. The recording I'm going to talk about is by Elvis Presley, but I did not know that this song was originally sung by a woman, which makes a lot more sense when you listen to the lyrics. It's Hound Dog, as recorded by Elvis Presley.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, you're crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time.
truly destroying our
Yeah, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend
And that's pretty much the song. It's very simple rockabilly, which is just 1, 4, 5 if you know your chords. And it's simple 7 chords.
It's simple. It's fun. All three of us were immediately into it. I want to request this song to be played at a homecoming dance or something, and see if the kids would actually dance along to it or try anything with it. Because I'm sure, it gives an energy.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see that. It's originally meant to be sung by a woman talking about her man who's a hound dog, which has connotations of probably chasing other women or just being a not faithful or not good man. I think there's one line about the one that keeps repeated, you ain't never caught a rabbit.
Right.
Talking about this person's lack of utility, like you can't do something simple at home to help care for everyone. The moment in history for me, this was one of the first CDs that my family had purchased. So we got before we actually had a CD player, the only way we could play CDs was on our PC at home.
Yeah.
So I remember getting some Mannheim Steamroller, not me, but my family. And that was the only way to listen to it back then. But when my dad got a Bose stereo.
Fancy.
My dad was so easily drawn in by advertising on TV. And so he got a Bose stereo with the CD player built in, and he and his sister really loved Elvis, so they got a compilation, 30 songs of Elvis, and I listened to it incessantly. It was infectious for me, because it would go back and forth between, the lovey songs and the fast-paced ones, and then, the slower ones, You Saw Me Crying in the Chapel.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got that thing.
He really got into that.
And I would learn all the lyrics. I didn't really care to know what the lyrics meant. I just know that, okay, this one's he's singing about love. This one, he's not singing about love, or he's upset about something.
He's categorized love, not love.
In my 8 to 10
Icky song, good song.
in my 8 to 10-year-old brain, and the rockabilly vibe for a lot of these is very catchy. I mean, it's why he was so popular, and and also the backup singers. It's Elvis Presley, and does anyone know the backup singers? The group name?
No.
It's the Jordanaires or the Jorganaires. I forget how it's pronounced, but it's some weird sound like that. But
what's the origin of that name?
I do not know. But it also, I feel like it also started to teach me just simple harmony. Just listen to how they layered their voices and sung backup for this lead guy. You then your ear gets used to that, and that I feel kind of helped me pick out harmonies and start to learn how to sing and just learn different note interactions growing up.
Yeah. Look, Elvis has a special place in my heart too. Growing up, I think it was tapes, cassette tapes. But that was my mom's go-to. If we're going to clean the house, we're turning on Elvis. We're going to crank Elvis. We'll sing, Blue Suede Shoes and mop the kitchen, So it just, that high energy, we're going to get some stuff done kind of.
Yeah. We had an Elvis CD, but we didn't listen to it then. We listened to Bobby Darin more often. We had a mixtape of Bobby Darin. So, Splish Splash and everything.
Oh, yeah. All right, back to Mr. Linton and Gold by Manchester Orchestra. All right, let's give it a listen.
I believed you were crazy.
a great album that is.
Such a good album. A Black Mile to the Surface.
Black Mile to the Surface. That's the one I was listening to at my friend's wedding.
It's in a compound meter. It's not straight 4/4. It's in a lilting fast 3, and it's different, and it's got like a kind of like a modern worship vibe to it, almost like a modern Christian contemporary songs might sound like this, I feel.
Well, I take that as an insult, but
Me too.
so this is one of the. I discovered this band actually because I had to buy a new car, and when you buy a new car, sometimes it comes with like 3 months of free satellite radio.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to use the free satellite radio. What channel can I find? And
I paid for it.
Or I paid for the car, so
Yeah.
and I turned on like some random alternative channel because it was the closest thing to my genre that I could find, and this song was on there, and it just really hooked me. It's so emotional and raw and beautiful. And I went kind of down the rabbit hole on Manchester Orchestra. The lead singer Andy Hull is the songwriter. He's fantastic. You can find if you like this, he has like the demo tapes for this album that are even more raw and haunting and pure. And you can find him playing like just guitar and singing in some record store by himself, and just I like music that feels honest. And like it's coming from a place of lived experience, and it's not for anyone else really, but the person who wrote it. They needed to just let it out, and this does that for me.
Yeah, absolutely. His raw singing is as good as everything else. It's genuine. It's amazing. And his lyrics are fantastic. One of the things I really look for in music is how they write. One of the big bands I got hooked on early was The National, and it was because of that. You don't always know what he's talking about, but you don't always know what he's saying, but you know what he's talking about, or vice versa. And it's very poetic. It's very honest. It's a great listen. All of their albums are a great listen.
Again, that was Manchester Orchestra. Gold. If you're curious to listen to it yourself. Going on to Mr. Walter, Hiding Place. How do you say the band name here?
I believe it's Auschwa.
Oh, sure.
My face was long when I heard a whisper in her song, and it pulled me by the wrist like the words of a hypnotist make the silence break, and when they snap you wake. Try not to bear the
sounds familiar.
I sent you this album.
That might be why.
Yeah. You said, of course, you would send me an album from 10 years ago, from a band that hasn't written a song since 2009.
And has like 300 monthly listeners on Spotify. Or
Absolutely. A good maybe 20% of the artists I listen to on Spotify have less than 5,000 listeners.
The recording lacks polish, kind of in a good way,
Yeah.
to my ear. At
I
least.
think he was good at what he did, and they were not large.
Yeah.
So they didn't have resources to add that polish. This is another tragedy for the lead singer. The lead singer got in a car accident and couldn't sing anymore.
So he survives. But
He survived. I think he had damage to his hearing that made it difficult for him to sing. The band dissolved in 2009. They only put out 3 albums, I think. But they're all really good. This is one of the songs that I got from the show Chuck.
nice.
And this one in particular stuck with me all the way till now. It's still on my list of songs of all time on Spotify. And it deals with difficulties of a complicated relationship, what's love and what's just a hiding place, and everything like that. And the final lines are what's have stuck with me because, like I said before, a lot of it's about the lyrics for me. And he says, I saw a lady down the road, said, I can be anything you want. I said, is that genius or is it fraud? She said, if it's getting you applause, man, it's just entertainment.
That's a good line.
And that has stuck with me for years, decades. So yeah, that's that.
When do you like to listen to this piece?
That's a good question. I think all of the songs I brought are just like work songs for me. I
Just
think
work
these
songs
are
for your
just
level setting for your programming.
Yeah, I put on music and I get work done. This is in my top songs of all time. So, anytime I'm driving or cleaning or programming or anything, this has the potential to pop on.
We're going to go on to a song that contains no words, but is one of my favorites. It's Eruption by Van Halen.
I just think it's interesting that Mr. Walter and I are like, we like music that has deep emotional lyrics that are relatable. And Derek's like, words? Music has words?
I like to shred.
It's funny because it's true. And I'll mention this in the next song too, that I am a music nerd. And so I love the technicality aspect of music. And as far as pop guitar songs that are technical, there's probably not one that is not more well known than Eruption by Van Halen, recorded in 1977 on their debut album.
Debut.
Wasn't
The blue debut.
it was not on the list of songs to be recorded. Eddie Van Halen was warming up. This is like one of his just warm-up pieces. And
Fascinating.
he would just play it at concerts. Like they would each take a solo. At least all the instrumentalists would take a solo, and he would just play this at concerts as his solo. And he would use it as a warm up piece. And the producer is like, oh, you're playing something like that, go ahead and hit record and we'll see what we get. And it's a pretty short piece, but the amount, you could argue that this is one of the most important pieces for guitarists moving forward because it showed them different things they could do on the guitar. And you could argue that this piece, or just Van Halen themselves, put a lot of guitars in people's laps, because that's what it did for me. Listening to this song, I bought this compilation album of Van Halen in high school because I'd heard them on the radio, and I'm like, I love every single thing that gets put on the radio of theirs, so I want to own more of their music. And so I would listen to this. Like, I remember I was in the traveling choir, festival singers at Michigan Lutheran High School, and we'd have evening rehearsals on Monday night, and I'd sit down with my chicken nuggets for dinner and put this on the radio, or put this on the stereo, and just sit in front of it and listen to it and sing along. And for this piece, it was just to listen to all the different note combinations. And I didn't play guitar at the time, but I was just fascinated with how he played it. And then when I started picking up guitar in college, this was a mountain to scale. This was something that had to be figured out for me. And so just reading up, okay, what was his equipment? What kind of guitar did he use? How did he actually play it? And finding this was the heyday of YouTube guitar tutorials. Found this one guy that did a note for note transcription and showed you every single note and how to play it. And like just some of the faster things that he played, just the reward of figuring that out was very, very gratifying.
It's interesting. I grew up with blues from my dad, so we didn't listen to a lot of complicated guitar. So I appreciate it from like a technical standpoint, but I don't enjoy listening to it as much. I don't know if that's heresy. I like listening to the smoother, the more delicate or drawn out. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not a musician. Of someone like Knopfler.
Oh, from Dire Straits.
Yeah.
Yeah. He plays some technical stuff too.
He does. He usually...
But it's a little bit more
usually
subdued.
Does a lot more slow and drawn out than...
That kind of stuff.
It's not it's never breakneck.
No. Knopfler is also known for only using his fingers. He never uses a pick.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't trained, so in his own words, he holds a guitar like a plumber holds a hammer.
Then we go on to Hot Mulligan's Monica. How do you say this?
Lewin Skibbity?
Is this where Skibbity comes from?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure this is after.
It is.
Speaking a different language, standing 6 feet apart, wanting to see more often, but visiting his heart. At least it feels like nothing I say can matter. Quiet voice on empty air. It's been months since you quit speaking, assumed an empty stare. It's 1 a.m. in Tokyo. The sun is up at home. 6 hours to my house here. Seems further when I'm close. Wake up, I can't let you just lay there and sleep. Please, wake up. There's still time if you stay up with me. Shame dripping out of my skin.
I mean, really, you got to listen to the whole song to get the whole story of it. But so I put this in here. Recently, I've kind of gotten into a deep dive into a genre called Midwest emo.
Remember you mentioning this before.
Okay, which like sounds stupid, but it's I don't know. It speaks to me. It's nostalgic in a way that I didn't think was possible for something that I hadn't heard before. It just has this feel of like longing, and feels so relatable, like a fall day in the Midwest where there's nothing to do except listen to music with your friends, you know, like that kind of feel. And I could have put any number of bands that I'm currently cycling through, some that no longer exist, like Modern Baseball, or some that are still making music that I like Free Throw. But I went with Hot Mulligan. This album just came out within the last month, I believe. And what I love about Hot Mulligan is their song names are just stupid. Okay, so like intentionally so. This song's called Monica Lewinsky, which you would see that name and you would think that's the cringiest thing I've ever heard. This has got to be terrible. And then it's a song about coping with the death of a grandparent who you feel like you weren't present enough for. So like in the refrain, he keeps changing the time of day. It's 1 a.m. in Tokyo. It's 3 a.m. in Tokyo. It's 5 a.m. in Tokyo. And he's talking about, my house is only 6 hours from yours, but it feels further than that. And then towards the end, it like does this breakdown of like all these memories of growing up and walking across the street to go skip rocks and all this stuff. And then the refrain is this wake up, and you find out at the end it's because his grandma's dead. And so like it's this like emotional like journey with a name Monica Lewinsky.
Have they explained the song title names, why they name them like that?
I think it's just random.
I think it might be clickbait.
Yeah, but like if you listen to any of their songs, they all kind of have that in common. Like this ridiculous song name. There's one, you know, it's like in quotation or in parentheses, equip sunglasses. You know, like as if it's an action that you do, like equip your sunglasses. But then like the lyrics are just something meaningful and heartfelt. And I love the idea of these kind of like melodic, beautiful guitar pieces with crunchier parts, with like this emotional, sometimes melodic singing, sometimes more guttural yelling. And there's just a lot of emotional range in it. And I think that is the genre, and that's the song.
I enjoyed it. There's a little bit of guitar.
I do as well.
Guitarness in it, which I enjoy. Like I want to figure out how to play it.
And that's that's one of the things I really like about Midwest emo as a genre is they've one of the things they do is they intentionally push the melody to the guitar,
Right.
and keep the vocals simpler. And so you have this contrasting of like this beautiful haunting guitar melody with something else going on vocally, and it's usually the opposite in a lot of other musical genres.
That's pretty clever. Moving on to Flower Face, Cordelia. Wait,
Cordelia.
Cordelia? Cordelia is the
Cordelia.
song. Flower Face is the artist.
Pill, if I knew it would bring me to you, but I don't think that it will. It doesn't make me angry, I don't feel that anymore. I'm never disappointed, because I've seen this place before. I think I saw you in the city, you looked paranoid and thin. Your face betrayed the weather, I could see it on your skin. I think I found our constellation, I can see it from your house. They say the stars are dying, but so is everybody else. Now I wake up
think you
every
get that.
morning waiting.
Is that just one vocalist harmonizing with herself?
That is one vocalist harmonizing with herself. This is Flower Face, for those of you that have never heard Flower Face before. I need to apologize to Flower Face. I didn't think she could top The Shark in Your Water, which was her previous album. I wasn't a huge fan of the album Baby Teeth the first time I heard it. But my favorite song of hers remains Cornflower Blue from The Shark in Your Water. But this one is a really close second. This is a perfect album. Girl Prometheus is a perfect album. She has this regular melancholy, and in a lot of her other albums, you get a lot more rage mixed in occasionally. This album has a lot more subdued rage. And it pokes through a couple times, but it's never like in your face. And she deals a lot with uncomfortable imagery and things like that. So viewer discretion advised, I guess, or listener discretion advised. It does deal with some really tough subject matter. This one in particular dealing with, most of this album deals with breakups, loss, things like that. And this is very much in the vein of Manchester Orchestra in that it's someone writing something because they have to write it for themselves, and you just get to listen along as a spectator. And in the middle of an album of banger lines, you get this song, which is just a straight letter to the other person who is no longer there. And it, once again, has some last lines that have stuck with me. Where she says, "When I'm feeling tragic, it's all I think about. If you feel it once, then you can never go without some kind of revelation that leaves you terrified. I think that I am evil. I could kill you if I tried. But I don't dream about it anymore."
Got a little Dr. Seussy there for a second, and the rhythm, the meter.
And she sings it better than I recite it, reading it. But just this dealing with loss and other things, and it's something we've all experienced, whether we've thought those words or not. And it's something that resonates heavily, I think.
I have no notes for this one. I would probably need to listen to it and process it more before other than just, I see a trend in your music, Ben, Mr. Walter.
Look, I was just surprised that everything was in English.
25% of the music I listen to is not in English, and I really struggled with not putting a Polish or Finnish song on here. But I guess these felt like larger experiences, other than maybe one of the songs from Lore. But the first song I found from them wasn't in Polish, so I didn't know which one to include from them. But that they remain my favorite band of all time.
Very nice. We're gonna move on to my last pick. This is a
good one to end on.
Yeah, it's pretty good to end on. It's from a suite of music by Gustav Holst. The suite is called Planets, or The Planets, and I picked the Jupiter song. We're going to listen to the opening and then the part that everyone knows.
Absolutely.
So that gives you the taste of the intro. Let's go to, and I love it on YouTube where I'm playing it from because you just see the spike,
most played
the
spike.
most replayed spike. We'll try to go to the end here too.
I'm trying to remember if the MLC band played the full Jupiter piece when I was there.
Very possible.
I don't remember, but I think they did.
That's impressive if they did. It's a pretty technically challenging piece.
Maybe they didn't. I don't know. I don't remember.
They've challenged themselves. Professor Worcester is known to
Yeah.
to push his students.
It's very good.
So, the moment in time for this piece for me was summer of 2008. I was selected to sing for the Wells National Worship Conference as part of the honor choir. I believe that's what it's called. So every high school auditioned and sent a handful of students from their high schools to sing in this honor choir, which was at Gustavus Adolphus College, University, I can't remember. Does anyone remember where Gustavus Adolphus is?
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Probably the United States.
Thanks for that,
You're
gentlemen.
welcome.
Anyway, so we sang these awesome choir pieces, and this is for more of the Wells members out there, our listeners. This was the year that we debuted the Blue Hymnal Supplement. Mm-hmm. Where we had the red hymnal before, and now we have the full blue hymnal. This was the bridge between those two hymnals, testing out some new hymns, some new service settings. And one of the hymns in there was Jerusalem the Golden, which had a different tune in the red hymnal, but in this new Christian worship supplement, it was to the tune of Thaxted, which was the slow part featured in this Jupiter piece. And I remember sitting in rehearsal, our director was telling this story that the tune comes from this piece, Jupiter. It's part of a suite on the planets. And high school me, this is new information to me. I'm thinking, there's a suite on the planets. And I've never heard of it before. And this is because this is a confluence of two of my major hobbies and loves. I love space and astronomy. I love music. I never knew that there was a suite on the planets. And so as soon as I got home that summer, I bought a copy of the album and, again, listened to it incessantly, mostly Mars. That's the opening one, and Jupiter are my two favorite pieces from there. And
It doesn't open with Mercury?
no, it doesn't go in order of the planets, order from the sun. It goes in...
Lame.
And there's not one for Earth. It's really interesting because it goes from the vibe, like Mars is the bringer of war, so it's very Martian, warlike, and then you've got Jupiter, Mercury, Venus. There's no Earth. By the time you get to Neptune and Uranus, it's very like mystical and slow and soft, and it's kind of a weird way to end the whole suite.
Like traveling away, getting further
yeah.
away, so it gets soft.
That maybe was what he was going for.
Maybe.
Also, side note, the very well-known composer John Williams used a lot of this music as inspiration for writing a lot of the orchestral soundtrack for Star Wars. Like if you listen to Mars, you listen to even like right at the end there, that weird kind of syncopated ending for Jupiter. You can hear that all throughout John Williams' pieces in things like Star Wars and even things like Harry Potter.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would say this is the much better version of Jerusalem the Golden than the. Although some people will fight me on that, but that's fine. They can fight me.
It's the tune that sounds like it should be at a British coronation or something like that.
Well, this is the triumphal. You
Yeah.
know, it
And
feels triumphal.
Holst-
The other melody is less triumphant.
It is kind of weirder. And Holst is British,
Okay.
so that makes sense.
I wasn't dissing it. I was
he's-
just saying that's what it sounds like.
And he's probably my favorite wind band composer. There's some other suites that he's done, like the military suites in E flat and F. I listen to those every so often because
E flat.
It's a good note.
it's a good key. It's a nice key. In art, there's the question of, hasn't it all been done before? Hasn't it all been written before? In music, you have, in the Western scale, you have 13 notes. That's what you're limited to, 13 notes and note names with all its accidentals. But I think we've seen through here that even just with these 9 songs, the breadth that music can cover and the creativity of musicians is never ending. There's always something to reinvent. There's always a story to tell, and music is always there to enhance the story. Although I don't know what the story is behind Eruption. It's just a fun song to play.
Gotta warm up those fingers.
Just warmed up the fingers, yeah. But I've found it enriching to hear some songs that I would not have picked on my own. And will I come back to them? Maybe. We'll see.
He says, looking directly at me. We'll see.
Go ahead, Mr. Linton.
I think that music has the ability to change your mood or also enhance your mood. I think it's why it works so well in cinema and other places, and why at our school our always best attended shows are the musicals. Is for that reason, and I love it. I think it's fantastic, and sometimes you play a song because it's how you feel at that moment, and it helps you feel that more. And sometimes you play music because you need to be cheered up or you need to distract yourself from something. But keep music in your life. Share it with others. I think I learned a lot about these guys from listening to these songs and listening to the way they talk about it. But don't let your Spotify algorithm be the end all be all. Talk to each other about your music. Share music with someone else. Don't be afraid to. Do people still do like the whole you listen to one earbud and I do the other one and we share music?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think that's one of the most intimate things you can do with another human being.
Share earwax with each other.
Yeah, do it.
What can I say that hasn't already been said? Everyone has a different taste in music. I think an encouragement that we can get from this is to be open about other music. Whether or not it's music that you would typically listen to or a style that you're particularly familiar with. Music is made to be shared, and not just from the singer to the audience, but from audience to audience. So my homework for all of you is to think of a song that was important to you. I'm not talking about the most important I'm not talking about your favorite song right now. Think of a song that was important to you and share that song with someone. Share some earwax. Listen to things with each other that were important for you at some point in your life. I think you'll learn a lot about each other.
Can I add just a thought to that?
Absolutely.
I think that is an important thing for today's youth, in that I think fewer kids are listening to music together as opposed to just on
I'd
their
be
own.
interested. Youth, if you have an answer to that, feel free to write in. And if you have songs that you think were that were influential to you and you want us to hear, feel free to send them to us at smartestguyspod@gmail.com. And maybe when we do the next episode and I bring 3 foreign songs, we'll get to listen to some viewer-submitted ones as well.
Class dismissed. Thank you.